take you for your money and whatever else you bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss, and I don't think I understand what's come of all of us, and I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of new.
What's up? That is not Scott.
Is he moving?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, man.
I can hear you.
I can hear you just fine.
Now everybody else can hear me. Now, so some reason I don't have the master thing set up. Thank you, George, for the heads up. Thank you so much. I got a whole new setup here. I love it. I got my keyboard over here, my mouse, my mic. It's a wonderful, and it slides right under the desk, and it's awesome. I love it.
I have okay Wi-Fi.
What's that?
I said I have iffy Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
some issues. That's okay. What do we got? We got a bunch of early joiners. We got George from Cloudsville. I guess somebody decided to buy some new equipment. Tarek,
Yep.
who's always with us. So thank you for joining. Jim Zastro, who's been a long time follower as well. Thanks for everybody for joining us. So just some housekeeping stuff in the beginning. Again, I can't help but to promote the first annual, unofficial, unsanctioned AstroWorld Star Party. It looks like it's getting closer and closer to the last weekend in August. So we're going to keep an eye on the weather there.
Yep.
And if not, the rain dates the following weekend. And if it's still rained out, then we'll have the first annual Star Party next year sometime. But if it's still rained out, then we'll
Yeah,
have
some
the
feedback.
again some feedback somewhere. Yeah.
Yep.
I think,
You got some feedback somewhere, some echo.
yeah, that's okay. I think it's gone.
That's better. That sounds better.
There you go. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and you guys don't know about this yet, so this is a first for everybody. As of tonight, we booked Pete Proul from IP for AP for
Nice.
next Wednesday's show.
Awesome.
So Pete's going to be on, and he's a great resource for not only PixInsight, but for Photoshop as well. So any of the older Photoshop kind of guys, or people, a lot of people still use Photoshop and Creative Cloud and all that. So it's going to be a really good resource. And if you don't know about IP for AP, check it out. It is a paid service for its higher
It's like
end
10
tutorial.
bucks. It's like $10 a month.
Yeah, it's I think it's $100 a year if I remember
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
if you do it annually, you get a discount.
yeah,
So
it's 99.
really reasonable.
yeah. So it's not bad. I'm a paid subscriber to them, and I have been for about 2 years now. My first year was a thank you from Pete, just because I was on a webcast with him, I guess, about 2 years ago. But and it's a really good guy. He also helps and does all the hosting for the Masters of PixInsight tutorials that they do every month. The next one is coming up on the 17th of this month. And that's usually 7 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. European as well.
Yeah, like London time or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the time is. It's called or
Yeah.
British
Like
Standard Time.
Yeah, like BST.
Yeah, I think it's
Something
BST.
like- Yeah.
And you know what? It's really good. This one is called Newbies Reloaded. So if you're a new person, just new to PixInsight, they're going to go through all of the kind of basics.
Right.
What the format is, how to work the user interface, and all that. Plus, they'll start breaking into a little bit on the stacking, the WPPP is what they call it, weighted batch pre-processing, which calibrates and stacks your files into a light. So they'll touch on that a little bit.
But it's only $35. You get a 2-hour tutorial with Ron Breacher, Warren Keller, and Pete Pruitt. So next month we're looking on getting Peter Myers from formerly of Optical Structures, now Woodland Hills, and I think he's going to be in mid-September. So I think that's where we're going with that. And lastly, don't forget, we're still waiting on our first donor to the Southern Sky Challenge round 2.
Oh my goodness!
I'll tell you this: if you're the first donor, I'll throw in an extra $5. I haven't promoted this as much as I did the other one. As a matter of fact, the only time I promoted it is on the show. I didn't do any blasting on social media. I will start by Tegan. Something happened.
Something's happened to Tegan.
Tegan disappeared.
Did he get disconnected?
Nope, he's back. He's back. There you go. You're good. So Southern Sky Challenge, Edda Karina. It looks like because of the length of time in between, it's getting to get some money together for the donors. It looks like we may just jump to the Dragons of Ara because that's starting to get ready to come around again.
Right.
So,
so yeah, I mean, anybody who who wants to jump in, I mean, now's the time, at least to get into Edda Karina, right?
Yeah.
So, hopefully some people, will hop in on this. If not, let's start blasting, for the Dragons, because that's the one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. That's going into the Astrophotography meets D&D mosaic. So,
or Game of Thrones, whichever one.
No, it's my no. Game of Thrones it's too new. It's too new. D&D 1977. Come on, let's go. but that was actually the. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. That was the image that kicked this whole thing off. But it
was with the
took
Dragons.
too long to get it together.
Yeah.
And by the time we got it together, it was already gone.
Yeah.
So we moved to the Tarantula Nebula, and Mark Ellis won first prize. He got an hour with Ron Breacher and a $100 gift certificate to Camera Concepts. Second prize is a $100 gift certificate to Explore, and third was another 1 hour by itself with Ron Breacher. Right now, I've just solidified the 2 $100 ones for this round. I'll talk to Ron about donating 2 more hours if he wishes, but we'll see.
Cool.
So that is the housekeeping for the day. I think I spoke about 7 minutes, and that's enough. So tonight, what we kind of were thinking about doing is going over some of the processes and scripts on PixInsight. Each of us will go over one of them, and we'll kick it off to Eric first with the normalized gradient script.
Yeah. So for those who know me, you know that I am a definite noob to PI. Majority of my processing has always been in APP, Astropixel Processor, and then moving into Lightroom. And just probably recently, within the past 6 months, I really started pushing myself, to get over that fear of, that fear of the learning curve of PixInsight. So everybody knows about the learning curve. And one thing that really helped me was, Ron, was Ron and the team over at Masters of PixInsight, with their first newbies, show. That's what started breaking the ice for me to start giving me a little bit more confidence to do this.
Let me just ask you a question, Eric.
Yeah.
Why did you buy PixInsight?
Yeah, when I first bought PixInsight, I had, I knew I was going to end up using it, but so nervous. The only thing I used it for was blink. That's it. For about the first 5 or 6 months, I just used it just because it was a faster and easier way for me to check my images, and to go through them. So all I did was use blink, and then I went into
If it works, it works.
and it worked. Yeah, it was working. But no, but now
sorry, I had to bring that up. I had to. You're never gonna live that down.
So I get really comfortable with blink. Let me tell you. But no, so I have, gotten really more and more involved in this, and they have actually started bringing out these really cool tools now to make things a lot easier. All these scripts. So the latest one is it's a normalized scale gradient script that was developed by one of the guys actually on the PixInsight team. And I'm going to share my screen here.
Yep.
And this is something you would do after your.
Let me just make it bigger.
My PI. If you see my screen here, you can see my everything's cluttered right now because I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning so much, man.
You have just everything. So I know Ron, if he's watching, is now twitching his eye. He's going into a seizure from your screen right now because there's way too many icons on there.
Yeah. So, I was just messing around, and I'm learning all these different types of stuff. Like I was messing around with deconvolution, and the big thing for me right now has been playing around with mask, and getting that, and just understanding how it all works. But we'll talk about this script here, the normalized scale gradient, and you can find it under script, batch processing, normalized scale gradient. And I believe you have to have it's included in the latest version.
Yes.
Of PixInsight, which is mine is 8.8, 8.8-8, and I think it came out maybe 8.87. I'm not sure.
I want to say it right, but recent. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah,
I'm not 100%.
It's within the last 2 releases.
Yeah. So if you've updated, then you'll have it. So you go here to normalize scale gradient, and you'll fire it up. But what you need to do, there's a couple things that you're going to need to do before you can actually use this. And what this does, it helps. After with your FITS files and you registered them and calibrated them, what it does, it helps clear out that gradient that is in many of your images before you go into the integration phase. So it clears and it basically levels everything out for all of your images. So if I had a shot here, let me close this really quick to give an example of something. So
do you know what the difference between doing this before and after
linear
combination?
Say again.
So you said this is normalized scale gradient. What do you know why?
Yeah. Why you use it?
I guess it's interesting that you would do this from each individual sub.
No. So what so what I normally do, but one thing you have to do is you have to do this for each so if you're using like a monochrome camera, you have to do this on each individual filter one at a time.
Each individual filter after stacking, correct?
After
you got
you've
master.
Gone through. No, this is what I was learning and what I was taught was that the process is to even start to normalize this. What you have to do is you have to get it calibrated and registered, and you do that through using weighted batch processing. And so if I hopped over here to weighted batch processing, let me fire this up.
You just don't integrate.
You just do not integrate, exactly. So you'll load everything up, and you would uncheck you load everything up so you can do your registration and it can do its calibrations and everything. But right here's the key: you do not integrate. You uncheck that apply button.
Okay.
Okay, and
Makes
then
sense.
what it'll do is it will go ahead and it will calibrate and register those files, and you'll end up getting your images. If I can go back here to, because right now it's in my ASI Air, so let me go here and my pics and 290. I'll show you this for
Too
example.
many cameras.
Too many stuff. Yeah. So right now, if you go into mine, which are registered, and as you can see, they're all separated. Each filter separated. And if I go here to my greens, for example, this is what you want to make sure of, is that it's calibrated and they're registered before you put them into the normalization script. So those things you have to do within WBPP 2.0. You do all that except without the integration. And what it's going to do is it's going to help clear out or level out your images and get rid of a lot of that gradient that is in your images. So this is a bad example because it's all tilted. But what you would do is you would go to your script, and like I said again, batch processing, normalize scale gradient, and you will add, and I'll add a few here. So you'll add those calibrated and registered files. So I'll just grab a few here and open it. And then what you'll also need to do is include a reference image. And a lot of times, this is where sometimes Blink will come in handy, especially if you're using multiple filters, is that you can use Blink to check these particular files to try to figure out which one will be the best one for your registration. So I'm just going to pick one here.
Yeah, let me just ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Would you, since you have, 7 or 8 subs there, would you consider using the subframe selector, or would you just eyeball it and use Blink?
I would sometimes, for me right now, I eyeball it.
Okay.
I eyeball it. But you can definitely use the subframe selector and do it that way, and then go into WPPB to do all of the calibrations and registering. And once you have your reference image, you also have to add in an output directory. And I've done that. So right here, I created another folder called NSG because it gives you this postfix file NSG that lets you know that it's gone through the normalized scale gradient script. So you'll select that file. Oops, PixInsight. So you'll select that folder, and if you want to add any subfolders, but usually I just put that in there, and you can run this. And after you run it, so I'm just going to run this really fast. I won't say overwrite. What the heck? It's not doing anything right now, so I'll just run it. So it'll run, and sometimes this can be a little processor intense. That's why I'm only doing a few. So it's going to check everything, and it's going to normalize these images, and then once it's done, it'll pop up and let you know. It won't really let you know, but you'll see the normalized scale gradient come back up. And so it's come back up, right? And then what you can then do is you exit this, and look what happens. Image integration
It'll pop right
comes up. It pops right up, and it lets you know what images that, based off of that normalization script and everything that's been calibrated and registered. I have had instances where it would give me an X here, where it says, based off of what the scripts told image, once the input's done, it'll tell you, okay, these aren't good enough. So
Okay.
it have red X's right next to them.
So
And
what
it won't
makes
input,
it not
so it won't
good
integrate
enough?
those. It could be maybe your sometimes your stars may be a little bit elongated.
Okay.
You know, stuff like that. Things that don't look necessarily normal, but once you've done your script and run the NSG script, it'll bring this up, and then I just basically leave this as default. I don't touch anything here, and I would just then go to the image integration, and if I can show that, and just go ahead and do an apply global. And then it would integrate those files. But one thing I have to remind you is you can't just dump all of your files if you're using a monochrome camera into the NSG. It has to be by filter.
Yeah.
It's filter specific, exactly. So yeah, this is so far it's been really good for at least for my testing purposes. I really haven't used it on any of my images yet because I'm still getting used to a lot of this stuff, but I've been doing a lot of reading up. I've been watching other fellow videos, like say Sean from Visible Dark. He's got a couple excellent videos that explain NSG.
Yeah.
And they are super helpful. But this one here, like this is the Fireworks Galaxy, but this is one that it could be, you know, it's one of those. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a game changer, but it probably is. You know, because all you then need to do is you can run, if you want to, your subframe selector. You know, you do your blink, then subframe selector, then maybe WBPP, yeah, BP, yeah, whatever.
2 P's.
And you just remember not to integrate.
Yep.
And then run this script here, and then then you do the integration of each of your filters after that, and then you end up with your new images, and then you can go into all of the post steps.
Yeah. So I think
this
it's
is a part
I
of the
think it's
pre-processing.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they built into it the image integration pop-up where it kind of goes into the folder. Now, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. If you use the same NSG folder for all your filters, is it going to pop up with all of the NSG files for all filters and then you have to uncheck them all? Or do you have to use a separate folder just to isolate them?
I personally use a separate folder to isolate them. So, for example, if we're here and let me go back to PixInsight and my NSG files, I actually have filled them all out because these are the ones I just integrated and went through NSG. So they'll just dump right into that NSG folder and they'll just keep filling this up.
Yeah,
so
it sees anything with the post prefix. NSG and dumps that into image integration. So it's really important to make sure you got one folder for each filter that you run this process through, or else it's going to come up with all.
Exactly. It's going to come up with all of them. So, and that'll be really crazy. So yeah, so that's why you should definitely separate your filters into subfolders, and so that way when you're doing that image integration, you're just getting the blues, the reds, the greens, and your narrowband filters.
Nice.
Each at a time. So, but no, it's so far it seems pretty cool.
Now,
but,
do you?
So excuse my stuff here.
Now, you said you haven't tried this on anything yet, or no?
I have tried it on this, but only for testing.
And what did you see?
Because I was actually playing around with it just yesterday, and because like all of these here, if I minimize this guy, actually I don't need this. These images here have all gone through the neutralization. Have all been gone through the gradient, the NSG. Okay. So here's my blue. So there's my green, my HA, and my blue and some, and I've got my luminances here. And unfortunately, this is one of the things when I ran, and I should show you guys this here. No, what happens if it bombs on you. So if I go back here, because this is a perfect example, and if I go here to my normalized gradient and I add, let's go to my reds, and we'll do these guys. Now open, and then I will put in my reference frame. I'm just going to pick one. It's out of the order. I'll pick one, and then I'll put in my output directory, red, and I'm going to say overwrite existing files. And I run this. I'm going to show you what happens. And this is when you know that there's probably something wrong with your images. And I haven't to this point figured out what is exactly is wrong with the images, but it's something that tells me that I'm going to have to redo them or go back if I still want to, if I still want to continue on with this project. I've got to redo my reds. So it'll go through this, and hopefully it won't take too long. And I'll show you what it pops up and looks like once it's all done. But I think I only grabbed a few, like maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna detect the stars and check everything. Okay, so it's done. I hit exit. Look at that.
So, did you find out what the issue was with that?
I haven't found out yet. I haven't yet, but it's basically told me that there is some sort of an issue with all of my reds.
Except for one.
Except this one right here.
And
but
there's no log.
Are your ADU values really low as well?
Yeah, so if I go to my reds, if I go there, let me just open one up. If I have one available, and that's going to open. Sorry, guys. Let's see.
What's that?
Go to my PixInsight and go to my calibrate. I think it's my registered and calibrated and my reds. So I'm going to open one up here. This is one that has been rejected. So I'm going to close this. And so to me, I was looking at this, everything seemed okay, but this is one that got rejected. So, and if I'm looking here, and if I go...
Try your stats.
Yeah, where's that at?
It's under process statistics.
Statistics.
And then make
drop
the view.
This down.
Yep. And do it, get rid of scientific notation, I think. And make sure it's the right bit rate.
I believe it's based off of the camera, right?
Yeah.
Which is a 14-bit.
I can't see that, but it looks pretty low.
Yeah, so like these look, like my average is only 19.
19 what?
19.235 as far as my average
right.
deviance.
Get off. Is that I can't see that. Is that middle normalized box check?
Yeah, normalized box is checked. Yep. So I'm not exactly sure, but but PixInsight did not like something with my reds.
All right.
Not sure exactly what. That's just
do some research
one of the things
into
I'm going to have to research and figure out, because I'm just not sure why it didn't like anything.
Huh.
But what is cool, that to your point, is that once you go through the NSG, it brings up the image integration step, and it lets you know, okay, these are we check all of these, and it's whatever, and it gives you the recommendation. Okay, these are the ones that you should integrate. These are the ones you should, with the red X. And
Yeah,
then
before
you basically
dumping all
just
those reds, I'd probably figure out what that issue is first before.
Yeah,
You take more, and all of a sudden,
yeah, it's be like, what the heck? So,
yeah.
but no, but that's what's going. But that's the normalization scale gradient script, so
Yeah.
the NSG, and it's pretty cool. So far so good. Just gonna stop sharing my screen here. And there we go. We're back. So yeah, hopefully you guys can take something away from that, from the newbie here, from the PI noob, but
Hey, well,
but it's good.
I mean, even to the people that have been using PixInsight, NSG is new to everybody for the most part.
Yes,
it's only
it is.
been around.
Yeah, this is a very new.
Yeah, it's only been around a couple months, so people are still playing with it. I haven't even touched it yet because I haven't had any data to do anything. So that it's been horrible. It's been horrible.
So the only NSG had come out, but I had already did the fireworks galaxy, the one that I showed you.
Yep.
I had already did that one, and if you guys ever see that, I've already posted it in Facebook and in my AstroBin and all that. But that one I just ran it with doing the weighted batch processing.
Okay.
And then from there, then I did everything else. So that was actually the fireworks galaxy was the first one that I actually ran. Solely did everything within PixInsight, with the exception of that script.
Okay.
So I was kind of proud.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to look into that. You should send me some of the additional tutorials that you've been using as well.
Yeah.
That would be cool to look into.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Like Eric was saying before, Sean Nielsen has, I think, 2 out.
He's got
right
2
now.
of them.
Yeah.
And they are excellent. VisibleDark.ca. I think they're really good, and they helped me out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which is why I can be able to explain some of this to you guys, because I'm borrowing, information I learned from him.
Hey, you know what? Steal shamelessly.
You seem pretty well versed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So, I guess the deal is what happens if you want a script that's not built in to PixInsight. So Normalize scale gradient is built in to PixInsight, and they dump it into the weighted batch pre-processing scripts. So if you want something else like what I'm going to be going over, the game script, you're going to have to go over a little process because it's not made by PixInsight. And I'm going to butcher the name. It's Harvard Boardman something. So I'm going to mess it up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it. And it's really pretty easy if I don't botch it up live. So give me 1 second here and I'll set this up. And where'd my desktop character go? And it's already being messed up. Let's see. And, oh my god, there it is. And we'll do that. And that, there we go. And so...
I think you muted it.
I muted myself?
No, I can hear you.
What did I mute? Did I mute something? I muted Eric. Sorry, Eric.
Can you guys hear me?
Now I can.
Okay.
Everybody heard everything you said except for us. So.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is that I really hope that which would be a really cool idea, is if they merge weighted batch pre-processing with NSG.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
If they could put that in a step before the integration.
And before the integration, yes.
Just have an
I
apply
think that would
box
be
like
pretty
anything
cool.
else,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
use the same reference frame that you're picking for everything else.
Yes. Because one thing that because the one thing is that I notice is when you're using the weighted batch processing, when you're processing with WBPP, it'll it'll select a reference frame.
Yeah.
However, you can't use that reference frame necessarily in NSG,
Right.
because especially if you're using monochrome, because it's only going to recognize NSG only recognizes a reference frame
For each
based
filter.
off of that filter color,
Right.
each filter. So that is one of the things that they may have to just figure that piece out, and maybe automatically, if you're using multiple filters, get reference frame, select reference frames for each filter. So when you look at the process text log,
Yep.
you can select that reference frame to put in if you're going to do it manually, or if they built it incorporate a larger batch processing script, they can do that and select those reference frames for each filter.
I don't see
When
why
they're
they couldn't do
naturalization.
that, because you're doing an auto. A lot of people do an auto for everything as it is.
Hmm.
So if you have a sub menu, just like when you have the imaging subframe menu for integration for nebula, blah 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 blah, all that stuff.
Hmm.
You could have something on there. They put sliders under everything. They could say auto, or red 1, green 2, blue 3, whatever for reference frames. I'm
Yep.
sure they could do that. I just don't know from a time aspect if that would really, because sometimes you're doing a lot of images, a lot of subs on the, I think
Yeah.
you may be running WB. A lot of computers out there may not be able to do that type of analysis and continue to run that script. But unless you got
I
a
just had a
Threadripper.
eureka moment.
What's that?
I just had a eureka moment where I think I know what's up with those reds.
What?
I'm gonna share my screen with you again,
No.
and to share this.
Anyway,
Anyway, so you have back in NSG.
Yep.
Why they weren't probably being loading into integration? Right at the very bottom,
Okay.
there's a minimum weight
Right.
that NSG runs that says, okay, it has to meet this minimum weight scale in order to be added into image integration. So probably mine were below this 50% weight.
Gotcha.
And that's why, for some reason, for one reason or another, those didn't make the grade. So
That's
it said,
possible.
okay, that's why I'm not going to add those into the integration. It's because of that. So
Okay.
I'm assuming if you want to, and I guess if you can modify this to make a decision on how strong or how intense you want your file to be scrutinized, before they're added in integration. Or you can probably go ahead and say my minimum weight is, drop it down to the bottom or very low, and that way it gets more of those files added into your integration, into image integration.
Gotcha.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, give it a shot and let us know.
Yeah, so I'll have to play around with that. But yeah, all right, cool.
nice.
Nice. Hopefully that works out for you. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I was saying with the game script, so I'm gonna share my screen. I'm already doing it. So
Yeah, it's kind of like StarNet too. That's another one that's not integrated into PixInsight.
StarNet is integrated now with PixInsight.
Yeah. You're right. It is actually.
Yeah. For a while it wasn't until I think 1.8.8.6 or 5.
Okay.
So it was a while ago, but yeah. StarNet wasn't integrated. You had to do the same
Right.
exact procedure that I'm going to show you here. So if you want something, now the game script's really cool, and everybody knows that masks are super important on how we can manipulate either just a galaxy or just the stars or just the background or whatever. And it's really important when you get down to the nitty gritty stuff of it to just target little areas of the picture, like this little hydrogen region of a galaxy, or this one star just looks not kind of that cool. But here you go. Now, the first thing that you need to do is download the script. And this is, and again, I'm going to butcher it again, Hartmut Bornemann. I'm going to say Von Hart, there you go. That's whatever it is. That's what it is. Okay? So he has a bunch of scripts. The two that I use is the game and the PSF image, which are two awesome scripts. But if you ever want to learn how to do this, it's not that hard. There's actually, if you go on his page, you can get the instructions right here. How to install scripts in PixInsight. And I already have it loaded up. And it literally tells you what to do. Download the file, save target, unzip it, take the JavaScript file and dump it in your script folder of PixInsight. Mm-hmm. And then you got to activate it. You got to add it. You got to put a whole bunch of stuff in there. So I'm going to kind of show you how to do it. And it's actually very easy. So once you download it and save it, all you need to do is, and I got the game zip right here, this JavaScript file, and this is going to be the same procedure for every single third-party script that you may have. And I'm just trying to remember exactly. It's PixInsight SRC scripts. So you just navigate to your program files. I think it's x86. Nope, I was wrong. Program files. And PixInsight, SRC, scripts, and you dump it down in here. And you can see there's the game script. I already have it loaded in. Once you get into there, you got to activate it. Okay, you put it in there and then you activate it. And again, just follow the instructions. Go under scripts, feature scripts, and add. I think it's a little different now. This might be a little bit old. But when you go into PixInsight, you go into resources. Okay? Updates, manage repositories. Then you add the website in here. And you can see it right here. It says skypixels at skypixels.at hvb_repository. You add that, and then every time he comes up with an update, you'll get that update. And you'll see it under, for this situation, under utilities and game. I got no activate.
Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're not sharing your screen.
What?
I just checked YouTube. I don't see anything.
I can't hear Eric either. Eric's waiting.
Eric, yeah, I can't hear it. Eric's trying to message on Facebook.
There you go, Eric. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure.
I'm like, what's Eric saying? He's waving. I'm like, can he see us? Like, can I see it?
It's like, can you hear me, Dan?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just
now you can.
Start
oh
over.
My gosh. Yeah, start over because nobody can see your screen. It's you've got the vMix on. You're sharing the vMix.
I see that, but I don't know why. All right, hold on a second.
Yep.
That is so weird. Why did that happen?
I just got your message on a group chat on Facebook, Eric, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Can you not see my screen now? You can't see my screen?
I see. No, it just shows that your vMix.
All right, let me make a new input. For some reason, It's not. Wow, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, and now Jim's saying that he could hear, but now he can't. So something's going on.
What can he hear? Tess. Is that yes? Let's see. Desktop capture. Oh, look at that. I don't know why it's doing it. All right, well, you can see that now, huh?
No, you're still showing your vMix screen, bud.
Wow. All right. And desktop capture, local, display 1.
It's kind of cool. I've never seen, the inside of vMix, so
Now
it's
can
kind of
you see
interesting.
it? You can't see it?
I still can't see your screen. Nope.
Let me see if I switch it to 2. That is so weird. Hold on a second. Now you can see it.
No.
What? I'm not seeing it. Let me refresh YouTube.
No, it's on YouTube.
There we go. Yeah,
now,
it's up.
All right, now it's switched over.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of start all over again real quick. I'm gonna kind of recap everything. All right, let me get back over here. So here is the PixInsight skypixels.at website where you could download the game script. And not only that, he's got a...
There you go.
What's that? You good?
Yep, you good.
Okay. He has a whole bunch of scripts that you can download. Now, the game script is really good for building masks. And then the PSF image one right here, it will, instead of going through all the craziness of building a PSF image for your deconvolution, this will do it extremely quickly. So
yeah,
this is a really good script as well. But we're going to go over the game script. And right at the top of the page, it'll say install scripts. This is your instructions. Now I'll drag it over from my other screen real quick. And you can see that. And it shows you this is what the instructions are. So basically all you do is save the file, unzip it, take the JavaScript, that's what JS is for, take the JavaScript file and dump it into your PixInsight scripts folder. And then you got to activate it. Okay? So how do we do this? So basically all you do, everybody sees it. Okay, good. So what you do when you go into PixInsight, this guy's website, go down to the game.zip, right click it, and save. Or you could just, I believe he changed this, that you could just click it and it'll save. Now I already have this saved, so I'm not going to save it again, but I'll show it to you real quick. And so when you download it, and you go into your desktop and open up, you just unzip this guy. Give it a second and I'll unzip. And then you'll get this JavaScript file here, this game JavaScript file. The other stuff is, the Acrobat's more like a manual. There's a README document, and there's just the JPG icon. Don't have to worry about that. This is the one you want. And you're going to take this and you're going to cut and paste this into that scripts folder. So you're going to go under your C drive or wherever your main folder is for PixInsight. And it's usually under Program Files. And then PixInsight, SRC, and Scripts. And then you're going to save it in here, and you'll see mine's already there. There's the game script right there. Okay? That's the first part. Now you got to activate it. So as you go into PixInsight, the one thing you want to do is go into resources, updates, and manage repositories. And I'll put this in the chat. But this is the website of the repository for anything from HVB. So Harman, Vort, Bornemann, whatever. That's whenever you get an update, whenever he puts out an update for that script, you will get it. So you just do add, put in the URL, click OK, and then it will add it on the next line, and then you'll be good. So now, when you go into script, you'll see anything new under utilities, and then game. Okay, and like I said before, I had PSF image, and that I believe is under render. And there it is, PSF image. But let's talk about the game script real quick. And if I open up an image, and don't laugh at these images because I don't even know what I'm opening. Let's see. SH112 HA7. No, it's not 7 nanometer. It's not really a great picture to use, but okay. It'll give you an idea. So how to use the game script is actually pretty cool. So if you go into utilities, then game script, okay? Then you can do add. And again, this is very dim. We'll do an auto STF on it. There we go. So now you can see what's going on. Now let's just say I wanted to work on the nebula. Okay? You can take this guy and you can move it all over by hitting that little red dot. Move it over, and it's got 4 axes, or 2 axes and 4 points. You could change, and this is going to be the shape of your mask. It's a little big, but that's okay, but you'll get the idea. Now it also does a bunch of different masks if you want. If you want to do a star mask, a brightness mask, binary luminance, well, and we'll do all of them just so you can show it to you. But you could also do your own multi-point. So if you want to do your own multi-point, you could just kind of do one of these and shape it the way you want.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Because we all know that nebulas and galaxies, they have all different shapes. They're not all circular. So even though you could do ellipses, like, you know, like this, you know, or this, you know, you can do whatever you want. But let's just start with that. And we're going to do okay. And it's going to make all of these masks for you to be used in PixInsight. And then it'll disappear. Oh my God, what happened? Holy crap, it broke. But here you go. Behind, it made all of your masks that you requested. Any mask you want is there, including a luminance mask, a star mask, everything.
That's nice.
And you can do whatever you want, and you can apply it just like by dragging it on over, just like you would do any other mask.
Yep.
And it's a really, really cool, nice, easy way to make masks. Now, Tegan, I know you and I had a discussion regarding the range selection.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Such an awesome tool.
Yeah, I mean, the range selection is really, really cool. But if you're a lazy person like me and just want a quick mask to mess with things, this is a really cool way to go. I think this is kind of cool. But to Egan's point, where is it? Range selection tool, and it's on my other page here. If you do a preview on the range selection, and you kind of mess with, I gotta turn off the
I think your image has to be stretched first.
It does, doesn't it? All right. So this is what we do. Process, and for you guys that don't know this, I'm sure most of you do, but I'll do it anyway. So if you do a screen transfer function, and then bring over your histogram transformation, and I'll bring that guy over so you can see it. Turn it off. Okay. Do a stretch. Bring the triangle over to the histogram transformation. Then do one of those, and now you're stretched. That's it. That's a real quickie. So I wouldn't suggest doing that if you're doing a real process, but there you go. That's a real quick stretchy, just for argument's sake. So again, range selection, and do that. And, there you go. Yeah, I think I got a stretch on here too.
Yeah. You may have, yep.
I messed some up. This isn't coming up right. It's probably because I did a real quick stretch on it, and it's not really an accurate stretch.
You want to keep the upper limit all the way up, and then just adjust your lower limit, and
Yeah.
that should start working.
There we go. Still not the way I want it to be, but and you can make it fuzzy, smooth it out a little bit. Now there you go. That's what kind of I want. So if you were just going for the nebula, maybe something like that. If you're going for stars, make it less fuzzy, bring out the stars, make it less smooth, kind of like that. Now again, this is all amp glow and stuff like that, and they got some bad columns here, but you get the idea. And that's the game selection. And I'll switch back over to the three of us.
No, I think that is a really cool tool, the game, because I have, like I said, me messing around and learning PI, I have actually, realized how important masks really are to this process.
Oh my God.
They are. It's like, it is like a huge key piece to your processing. Yeah. It is like the biggest thing because it just I had no idea, how important those masks are. And to Sean Nielsen's point, he was saying, like in his videos, masks are your friend.
Oh yeah.
So, you got to learn these masks and learn what they can do for you, because that's probably half the stuff you're going to do in PI. Yeah. I mean, even when you're doing deconvolution, you have to make a decon mask. Yep. You got to make, you got to make a star mask for many ways. Especially if you want to minimize or reduce your stars, your star sizes. If you have a image that was just full of stars, so super dense, and you want to reduce that density of those stars so you can actually see the DSO, so you can actually see the nebulosity, you're gonna have to use a star mask for that, to help reduce that stuff, so this mask is key. You gotta know the mask.
Yeah, the mask on everything.
Yeah, most of the processes from denoise to anything to anything that you're really doing, to color, to curves, to whatever, you're probably going to be using a mask, because when you want to boost, let's say, I don't know, the red in an object, well, I just want to boost the red in the nebula. I don't want to boost the red in all my stars, because now all my stars are going to be red. So you want to protect the stars, hence mask them so they don't get affected. You know,
Exactly.
so same thing with background. When you're
Yep.
denoising the background, you just want to denoise the background. So you want to protect the stars and denoise the background. So masks are super, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I'm pretty sure that's one of the premier mistakes that newbie people make, include all of us. All of us have done it. Masks, I don't care about masks. I just want to fix everything.
I just want to make it, because when I first really started messing around, after the newbies reloaded or the newbies videos, they do a great job trying to get you, a new person comfortable with PixInsight, and you're using a one-shot color camera, how to get that picture out so you can share it with somebody, so you can share it with your friends and everything. But there's so much more into it. So like, say, because if you are running, say, saturation after you've stretched and you're running, say, the saturation piece, a regular, a new person like myself, we would just use that and
crank it up.
End up saturating we would use that, but it would end up saturating the background, the stars, everything else. When all you want to do is give some saturation, to the object, to the nebulosity. Correct. So having this and then learning and understanding, that when when you're inverting mask, what does that mean? And what do the colors mean? When you have red and, red is what, red protects, white is what you're using.
White selects, red protects.
Red protects, exactly, stuff like that. So you have to, get used to using mask, because you're going to be using them a lot, because I have actually learned more and more that what if I, like to your point, the background. What if I only want to touch up I want to protect the star colors, I want to protect the star, or I want to boost the stars, but I don't want to boost everything else in the background because the background's nice.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of stuff that masks do for you. And,
I find it helpful.
New guys, it's super helpful.
If you have, an SHO image, and let's say, your hydrogen data is always excellent, and it's your sulfur or your oxygen data that usually suffers. You can, use your oxygen data as a mask itself to boost only the oxygen data in your actual
That's
image.
interesting.
Same with sulfur and hydrogen as well. And I find that, if I have an SHO image and some of the highlights in my hydrogen alpha areas aren't like popping like I want them to, I'll just go ahead and use the hydrogen data itself as a mask, increase the saturation or color correct using that mask, and it works.
That's a good trick. There you go.
I gotta write that down, because that's a nice
really.
trick.
Dude, you and I gotta hang, because
I have lists.
Dude,
stuff.
All I do is narrowband, because I am in the worst place on the planet to do astro imaging. Long Island is the worst. It's the complete worst. I can't wait to. You see, I wish I could show you the lights around me, because that's what it looks like at nighttime. It's just horrible. It's horrible. That's why I'm relegated to mostly narrowband imaging, and I'm right now, unless if I'm shooting sharpless, there's really not a lot out there besides sharpless right now. There's some stuff, but a lot of the stuff is low, so it's behind my house. So all that's lovely stuff in like the Sagittarius, Scorpius area that I can't get.
3 nanometer.
I have it. I got it. Oh, you missed it. I got the Antilla Pros. But Antilla. That's the New York way.
Thank you, Eric.
The New York way is the Antilla.
Antilla.
The A filters, I got them. They came in. They're installed. And and that picture that you saw right there was a 3 nanometer. Was not a 7. I forgot to change the name, but it was a 3 nanometer shot. But hey, I'm psyched. One thing I did happen. I set my telescope up. I got like a ring camera outside to keep an eye on my telescope while I'm sleeping.
Sure.
And
When you're sleeping.
yeah, I'm sleeping. So you know, I want to image all night if it's going to be clear. I ain't staying up all night. I gotta work. but the whole thing was, I guess, right as soon as I went to bed the other night, it did a meridian flip and failed. It was outside for 3 hours, 4 hours, doing nothing, and didn't play it solve. I've never had that problem before, but something must happen. I think what it did, the plates cloud came through, and the plate solve frame was like had 2 stars in it, and it just couldn't solve it. So it just crapped out.
Just probably bad timing. Yeah,
Yep.
Probably bad timing. The cloud came through.
Story of my life. Bad timing.
So frustrating.
Yeah, right. But hey, you know, I'm psyched. Somebody said last week to do Sharpless 2112, which I thought was cool because I'm a big Rush fan. So 2112 is a Rush album. So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put the star in there, and I'll be cool. but yeah. So the Aunt Leah George came in the other day. So if anybody wants a 2-inch mounted set of Optolong filters, give me a ring. They're gonna be up for sale. I got them.
So, what nanometer are they?
The Optolongs?
Yeah.
The 7, 6.5, 6.5.
Okay. I might talk to you about it.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Because right now, all I'm running right now are 12.
You don't want that. What's 12? What are you doing?
Because I'm using with the Rasa. So when I have the Rasa,
right.
so
You're
you
forgiven.
need them for the Rasa.
You're forgiven.
You need
You're
them for
forgiven.
because I'm not spending almost $1,000 on the Baiters.
Yeah.
Those Baiter high speeds
Those
are too
high
expensive,
speeds?
and you can't find them anywhere. Yeah, they're expensive, and I can't even find them anyway. So whatever. But
I'm telling you.
But honestly, I do have one Aunt Leah. I did get the HA.
Yep.
The HA
And you
Pro.
put up that HARGB.
Yeah, with the horse head. Yeah,
Yep.
that was the only time I've ever done it. So yeah, but everything else is 12 nano. So I'm just waiting because the toughest one for me to find right now has been the oxygen. The O3 keeps getting sold out.
I got one.
An Aunt Leah Pro, 3 nanometer.
No, that's in the filter wheel. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
What, $430 a filter? I mean.
Yeah, it's $470. Yeah, it's like $430 for
the
HA and sulfur too. It's like $430, but the oxygen is $40 more.
Yeah, so
Are you using the 3 nanometers for your Rasa?
No. I'm going to use them, for the edge. I want to use them for the edge, and
Okay.
and then
you
use
can't
the
use them for the
12s,
Rasa.
and then use the 12s just for the Rasa.
No,
But
I was gonna say that. Yeah, that's
but
you may
I'll
wanna
get
go
there.
maybe 7.
But who knows if somebody wants to maybe I should start a GoFundMe. Eric needs filters. Page.
I would donate to that just because it's funny.
This is funny.
I'll give you $5.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. That would be so funny.
Tarek ordered the HA 3 nanometer Pro. It will come soon. Tarek has his 36 millimeter set for sale.
I need to get 2 inchers.
The Rasa. I wish I had the dark sky to get a Rasa because I would just be blown out and I'd be blown out quickly.
Well, no, I mean, a Rasa works great in those light pollute. If you're using a one-shot color and you're using the duo narrowband. I mean, because who is it? Greg LaMonica.
Yeah,
he's in Chicago and he's black and he uses his Rasa all the time.
Yeah.
So you can use it. You can definitely use it in
Yeah.
your sky if he can, because he's right there in Old Town, in Chicago, like almost like downtown Chicago.
Yeah, I
Where
think
it's
I fixed my
definitely
tilt
Photo 9.
issue. Speaking of Rasa, I think I fixed my tilt issue that I had on those photos that I took.
Okay.
I just think I wasn't. One of my things weren't
Nice.
screwed on right. I just took it
Gotcha.
apart and everything came out good.
But getting back to PI, I mean,
Yeah.
so you've got the new weighted batch processing,
Mhm.
2.0. You've got the newer, you've got the gradient, the normalized scale gradient
Yep.
that just came out. You got game for mask. So you have that. So when you want to make your mask, you can use game, or you can go actually to
Range selection.
there is a setting, so you can actually go under your processes and go to mask generation, and they've got
Yeah.
a few of them. They got 3 of them there, but you can use a lot of them, like say StarNet. So StarNet's good. That
Actually,
one
wait.
I've actually played around with.
WBPP is up to 2.12.
StarNet's also awesome for a mask as well. If
It
you
is
start out your
super
image
awesome.
and then use that as a mask,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yep.
helpful.
It is great for a mask.
It's actually perfect because you don't need any. You have no stars in there, so it's like a perfect range selection mask almost.
Yep. Yeah, because once you take those stars out and you just have that object in there with nothing, you just invert that.
It's almost like cheating. It feels like it's cheating.
It is, but it's cool. But
I used it all the time.
yeah. Oh yeah. I used it to overlay RGB stars onto a narrowband image.
Yeah.
So there are easier ways to do it than StarNet now, but before there was only really one way to do it. You had to minus the stars out.
That's the way I'm doing it. I'll combine my SHO data and then layer my RGB stars
Yep.
in Photoshop.
Yep.
Takes
Works
5
fine.
minutes. That's not too.
Yeah. That's cool.
Is that how you would use Photoshop to layer your RGB stars on the narrowband? You would use Photoshop and not PI?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'll just do a layer through the screen. What's that little? I can't remember what the overlay or screen.
Your overlay.
Okay.
What's that process called? Let me.
I really do it through PixInsight through a mask and just take the data and just plop it on. That's it.
Yeah, I think Tarek, he actually got a new scope. He was
Yeah.
posting it on Facebook.
Yep.
I think he got an NASCAR. Did he get
Yep.
a NASCAR
I
400?
think he did.
Yeah.
Chris Freerskin popped on. How you doing, Chris?
Yep. And those NASCARs are nice because that's what Jason has. Does he have he has a 400? Did he have a 600 too?
No, 4.
Or just the
My
400?
400 had,
What's that?
didn't have, my 400 didn't have a flat field that I tried.
Really?
Yeah.
Really interesting.
And reduced. It was
depends.
actually better. It was better reduced than it was without the reducing.
Really?
Interesting.
That's the first I've heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's a
me too,
pencil, and isn't it?
I think you got a
Nice,
lemon,
yeah.
Tegan. I think you got a lemon.
I got a caddy.
Because everyone I know, and I know I've sold
They love it.
probably 20, if not more, of the FRA 400s, and not one complaint. Now I can say the same for the 600s. The 600s are wrought with issues, so just be careful.
That's what
when
I've
you buy
heard.
them.
That's
Yeah.
what I've heard. Yeah, the 600s have issues, but the 400s are really nice, and
The
they've got
400s are
even the
spot on.
smaller
Except
ones.
don't buy Tegan's 400. Buy anybody else.
Yeah.
It's F39 with that 0.7
Yeah.
reducer.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Like 274
really
millimeter focal length or
it's
something.
crazy.
That is
It's
crazy.
crazy.
And I mean, I was actually looking at what else do they have? They've got a 30 millimeter and a 40 millimeter ASCAR out now.
Yep.
I think is it either like the ASCAR 135? That's if you even got one of
I
those.
want to
out,
say it's a
trying to compete
130, a 220, and
because I thought they were doing something to try to compete with the Rokkinen.
yeah, I think it's a 130.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
like a 130.
It's a
try to
130,
compete with
and
Rokkinen,
then there's
it's
a
135.
220, and they're coming out with a 400, just lens.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I haven't seen the 400 yet. I've seen the other two. The other two I've seen. Haven't used them yet. I'm still trying to get my regular rig running. I'm waiting for my next new toy, so I can send clouds across the country.
Clouds across the country.
And actually, Tarek said it's a 135 f4. So yeah, so you're right, 135. But the 8R is coming, and hopefully by Thanksgiving I'll have a new mount. So
Nice.
we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah, because one thing is that with the Rokkinen 135 and any DSLR that I kept forgetting that, even when I was in New Mexico and I'm imaging Ro Ophi and I was imaging the blue horsehead, why it was so much, and I was using the 294, but the 294 is a 4/3, it's a crop sensor. So basically, I wasn't getting that 135. I was getting probably 70 millimeters or something the opposite way.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like it's the opposite way. So I was basically getting 260 millimeters
Yeah.
instead of the full 135. So it's just I just got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So that I couldn't fit every kid, because Ro, it looks so big in that frame, and the image is huge, even when you're using the 135, because you're using a freaking crop sensor. Right?
Yeah. That's what it is, man.
So.
I mean, I need something small to do that, but I can't do photography
White Cat
with
Mosaic?
DSLR and from Long Island. It's gonna look like a complete shit show. Sorry, but it's gonna look horrible. And if I was in New Mexico or somewhere at least under Bortle 7, maybe I'd try it. But until I get down to probably Bortle 5, that kind of area, I won't even try doing that.
Right. Because
I'm in like
what was
Bortle
so
6
weird
7
was,
right now.
What's
I
that?
would never.
What
I'm
was
in
so-
Bortle 6 or 7 now.
Yeah,
Never
because I'm
attempt
like in
Yeah.
I'm in a Bortle 5, and it might be growing it might be looming towards a Bortle 6 because there's a lot of new things happening over
Yep.
here, and a lot of more. You got a lot of things happening, and eventually they were talking about putting in a casino in the city right next to me,
I get screwed.
a Hard Rock casino. So I was like,
Screwed.
oh God, I'm done. Yeah, I'm like, great. I'm
You
gonna
got
be
a
like
big
Antoine,
guitar flaming at you.
No kidding.
The guitar and everyone.
I'll have to be like Antoine and have to go to the desert or something just to get away and get
Telling
some
you.
decent skies, man.
You gotta go
can't see
move and
it.
hang out with Tarek out at UAE.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. But
Telling you.
but I tell you the that 135 is nice, but I've got to find a new travel refractor because I sold all my other refractors.
So I picked
I
this
sold
guy
them
up.
all. But I was thinking about getting another red cat.
I just picked this guy up for almost nothing.
What do you got?
This is it's a Canon. What is it?
F1.
It is a 28 1.8.
Oh, 28? Okay.
Yep. So
Nice
I was
wide.
originally
Wide
going to use this for like Orion or something, but I never got a chance to do it because my skies are horrible. So I tried it once, and I was like, it was like completely white screen. It was like I saw points of light, and literally this was only like a 20-second shot. I mean, it was totally gray, and I was like, I'm not even wasting my time to do this because it was just so bad. So what I'll do is, maybe at Cherry Springs, I'll steal like a Star Pointer Pro or not Star Pointer, a Sky Venturer Pro from the store,
Right.
and slap it on there and see what I can
Slap
get.
it on there.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. PI question. So getting back to PixInsight. The photometric color calibration.
Sure.
Have you ever come across where you are doing the where you use an image so you can gather the data off of one of your FITS files? And
I'll just say one thing really quick.
Is off.
I hate it.
You hate it?
Oh, it works for me every time.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We got both sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah.
Hey, it never works for me.
It's really weird. It's really weird because all of a sudden, it's like maybe a couple months ago, I was adding in maybe some more catalogs.
Sure.
For the plate solving, and then everything broke on me. After adding those catalogs or something, because it won't plate solve anything.
Maybe
it won't plate solve.
You're in a
so I don't know what's
different
going
epoch.
Yeah, who knows? But one thing I did notice is when I was using the Edge 8, and it's a 2030 millimeter focal length. However, if you say acquire from image, and I give it one of my images, the focal length it came up with was like 500.
Huh. I find if
I didn't
you
know if you
just
guys ever, I didn't know if any of you guys ever came across something like that.
No, I guess I've never had an issue doing find my target manually and then enter my pixel scale and focal length in.
Oh yeah.
And just run that and
just run it like that. Yeah, no, and I've done that, but it's just kind of weird when you do acquire from image and you pick one of your FITS files so it can use that. That when you hit that button, is that the focal length is way off. I mean, the pixel size is fine. It says it's dead on the money for like my 294. It says 4.63. But the focal length is at 500. And it's like, how the heck did that happen if I'm using my Edge 8 at f10 and it's a 2032 millimeter focal length telescope? I don't know.
Isn't now? Correct me if I'm wrong with the ASI Air, because I'm not an ASI Air user. Because I've heard things where people say that the focal length in the ASI Air is calculated a little weird. Especially when it's doing plate solving and stuff like that.
It is a little weird that it's not, because say again, if you have an Edge 8, which is a 2032 millimeter focal length, if I do my plate solve, it's only gonna. Sometimes it shows up as 2010 or 2020 millimeter.
Okay.
But that's as far as it usually goes, as far as its fluctuation.
No, because I was just wondering maybe that the weirdness is transferring to the FITS header, and
and that's a good question. It could be, but I don't know, because it is grabbing everything off the FITS header.
Yeah, what you may want to do is just dump a pic into the PixInsight, go under Processes FITS header, and take a look through them and see what the FITS header says in there. And see if it matches what you're seeing in photometric color calibration.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know. That's just a thought. That's where I kind of.
No, that's a good call. That's a good call.
Dan, do you just do background normalization and color calibration manually, like using previous?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, I do everything manually. Yeah, I do all the normal stuff, the background extraction. And then later on, I'll grab the histogram equalization and all that kind of stuff. But as far as up to stretching, I will do the color calibration all manually. I'll do it all manually. And you know what? the thing comes to me. I don't know. I'm a simple guy. I don't know. I'm just, you know, this thing pops up and it's got this graph that everyone tells me to ignore. And I look at it and there's a line with green dots all over the place. And the color just doesn't, it doesn't wow me by any.
You might need more data.
I had 26 hours worth of data. How much more data do I need?
No.
I mean, that was, this picture
that.
behind you is 26.2 hours. And that's what I use
Wait,
first.
you're color calibrating a narrowband image?
What? No. I'm sorry. That's not that one. I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh,
I mixed that up.
gotcha.
You're right.
I was
Sorry.
like, that's probably why.
No. Sorry. I think I was doing it under maybe the Markarian's chain or something. I did RGB or maybe 101 where I did it. You're right. My bad. I'm sorry. I skipped out.
No. But to your point, yeah, I just did a FITS header check, and yeah, it is showing 502 millimeters in focal length.
So then
one of my images.
Something's being written in the ASI air that's doing
really
that.
Weird. Yep.
So you may want to check on something with the ASI air because PixInsight, I mean, from what I know from PCC, it's garbage in, garbage out. And, you know, if you got a bad image scale, well, not image scale, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you got bad information in the FITS header.
If you're getting, if that header is incorrect or you're getting data that's incorrect, yeah.
So there's a free program out there called FITS Changer, I think it is, that you could actually dump all your files in there and change that one line, and it'll rewrite that one line.
Gotcha. That's good to know.
Yeah, I was searching because, you know what, I had something similar happen to me with my filters, and I had, believe it or not, capital H, capital A in the filter FITS header, but everywhere else it was H, capital lowercase a, so wouldn't see it. So I had to add all my filters custom into WPPP and change the filter name to do it. It was annoying. So I scoured the web to see there's got to be a way to change this, and I found this thing called I'll send you the name of it. It's FH. Yeah, now you can, Chris. Now you can edit the FITS header in PixInsight. But I found with this program, if you have hundreds of files, it'll just do all 100 in like, yeah, like quick. And it's a little funky. It's not. It takes a little bit getting you, but once you got it down, if you have an issue like that, you just dump it in there. Dump all your files, 500 files. Takes like 2 minutes. Get yourself a water. You're done.
Nice. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to hunt that down. That'll be nice. You can find that.
Yeah, but you can definitely do it. You can definitely edit the FITS header in PixInsight. There's a kind of way to do bulk, kind of like that. I've only done it once. I think it was with Ron Breacher when I had the same issue with his filters and his camera. But I forgot how to do it.
Okay.
But, well, we're coming up on 10:50.
Yeah.
So we went over game. We went over gradient.
NSG.
Normalized gradient.
Yep.
And oh wait, you didn't go over dark enhancement. Dark structure.
Yeah. It takes 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you want to do that?
Yeah, go for it,
let's
man.
do that.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Since we started late.
All right. Make sure I'm sharing my screen before.
Oh yeah, you're fine. Let me just
We're
put
good
you. Let me just put you widescreen here. Where's my mouse? My mouse disappeared. And yep, go right ahead. You're live.
Okay. Let's see. Grab a quick one. Okay. So it's super, what I found is super simple. It's basically instead of creating a mask, like a luminance mask or a range mask to enhance the dark areas of your nebula, kind of just darken them up. It's a simple script. If you go up to Script, Utilities, and then where is it? Oh, okay, Dark Structure Enhance. It's about 8 down. Make sure your target image is correct. But what this is going to do, I typically do just apply it at default, the default amount over here under the parameters, and hit OK. And I'll toggle back and forth between the two after it runs the script, and you'll see what I mean. Eric, I don't know if this is something that you use or either of you have used.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's super simple, but just an awesome way to improve contrast in your images.
Okay. That's nice.
Okay, so then.
No, I've never used it. I had no idea. There's so much stuff.
That's before and after.
Yep.
And
it's great. It does nothing to the rest. It's like so awesome.
Nothing. Like here you can zoom in there. And then you can also, I don't believe you can apply a mask while you run Dark Structure Enhance. I think you have to do it to a completely unmasked image, if I'm correct. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. I think the only thing that I was able to do if I was going to kind of do that is the local histogram equalization with a mask.
Uh-huh.
And it still doesn't do as good of a job with the dark lanes like this does.
No, yeah, so you can definitely overdo it. Let's say you go up to, let's show them. Let's go just 80%.
This is
nothing
how
crazy.
You really screw things up.
And this does add a little bit of noise to the dark areas, but for that added contrast, it can be worth it. And then you can just denoise.
Yep.
So that, let's see, toggle back.
That's not so
well. It's not too bad, but if you look, this is completely
dark.
Yeah. I guess that's not completely overdoing it there. That depends on your taste.
Yeah.
Of course. But I use this during the end of, this is like one of the last steps that I'll use in my process. And yeah, that's about it.
I mean, it's easy, but it creates such a visual impact, especially when you're able to bring like the lanes of a galaxy or the ins and outs of a nebula.
Oh, yeah.
or something like that. I think it makes things pop just that little bit extra that you need.
Yep.
And these little things that we do, all three of us do with these pictures, everything is done incrementally. It's not broad strokes like let me just paint the side of a house. You can't do it with this. You're incrementally changing parts of the picture. And, just like Tegan showed you, just to pop out those dark areas, to kind of bring out not only the contrast of the main image, but darken the dark and in turn, not necessarily brighten the bright, but make it stand out a little bit because the darkers are that much darker.
It's an awesome tool.
Yeah, and it's a no-brainer. It's literally, like Tegan said, defaults are good. Feel free to play, because even when we played with it and bounced it up 30%, it wasn't ugly.
It wasn't terrible, no.
No. I mean, it might have been a little bit too much for my taste, but again, to your point, Tegan, And I know, Eric, you and I have spoken about this on a number of shows, that the bottom line is it doesn't matter what us three think. It
Exactly.
matters what, it's your picture, it's what you think looks good. And
Yep.
what, is it too much for me? Maybe not enough for you. Maybe too
Yep.
much for Tegan is not enough for Eric. But you gotta sit there and judge. Now, there is something called too much. You know. So if
Yeah.
you think it
Like you
starts,
overdo noise,
Oh.
and it looks plastic.
and it's blotchy and plastic, and
Yeah.
or you oversaturate and everything looks like you're in a neon show.
I love that look, Dan.
You love that. I know you do. But you know, it really depends on your eye, what you look. Nobody, don't worry about if you're looking for somebody to tell you how it looks. Don't let them talk to you about the aesthetics of the picture as far as, you know, what it kind of looks like. Have them talk to you about, do the stars look right? You know, is your tracking good? You know, that kind of stuff. The color, all that kind of stuff is all objective. It's all objective. Bueller?
And that
You are
changes over
correct
time.
there,
for me.
What was that?
That changes over time, my opinion on what I like in my photos and what I kind of try and stray away from. You know, whether it
Till
be
you
like color
turn
saturation.
50. I don't think you heard that.
No, I heard you.
Okay, but you know, it does over time. You know, you definitely your vision changes, and what you think looks real changes. Just like when you're 10 years old and worried about the monsters under the bed, now you're worried about real monsters at 50. But you know, it's definitely what you think is good, then stop.
Yep.
Then stop. Don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. If you look at it and say, "Hey, that looks pretty good," stop screwing with it. you know, or ask somebody else what you think process might make it better. That's all. All right, so that's dark structure enhancement game and the normalized gradient script. And let's see, what do we have anything else in the chat still or no? I think they're just making fun of us probably.
Yeah, pretty much. Tarek wants to give you his data.
I saw that before. If you want my data, that's all right. That's okay. Tarek likes making fun of me. That's all right. Tarek,
No,
one day if I get over my flying fear, you know, without taking drugs and mass amounts of alcohol, I'm coming to UAE and we're gonna hang, bro. We're gonna hang. Good point. Gotta find your own style. Yeah, exactly, Jim. But all right, we're coming up on 11 o'clock, and I'm sweating under. This room is like a sauna. It's crazy. So, Eric, last thoughts?
Yes. No, I mean this was a good show. I mean, I've learned even more than I did before. You know, with the game, I knew, you know, that it's great for mask. I had no idea about, you know, especially I like Tegan's tips about using, you know, your different, you know, narrow bands, converting those into a mask.
Yeah, that's
You know?
a big eye opener.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I want to try that out, especially on this one that I'm working on.
I mean, I've
You
done
know,
that
to
with
help,
the
you know,
luminance.
to help
I never
isolate,
thought about
to help
doing it with.
isolate those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'll be really cool to just isolate, because you can isolate those particular bands and just work on those and boost those up a little bit if you see that they're lacking. I think that's smart. That's a smart way to do it.
What I've found in PixInsight is that if you know you have an image and there's a mask that you want to achieve or an area that you want to highlight, it's possible. You just have to know how the workflow to create that mask. It's
Sure.
through PixInsight. Whatever you want to do is pretty much possible. You just have to know the software good enough to
Yep.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. That is
Yep.
very true.
Plenty tips and tricks, man. Plenty tips.
Yep. So no, those out in and again, even the dark structure enhancement as a new person, yes, really pushing forward into PI. I think that's great. That's another utility that I didn't know about. That's gonna help me out tremendously. I'm sure. Towards when I'm getting at the very end, like when I get finish up my say my SCNR before I do my profile, my ICC profile. What stage do you usually use that in? At what point do you do the dark structure enhancement? Could you say you do it towards the end of your
Yeah.
post? How far down usually do you do it?
I don't necessarily have like a perfectly aligned workflow. I do it after I do adjust my colors and adjust saturation, and I have the image 95% done.
Sure.
Then I will make that determination. I may not need it. That those dark structures through processing and using masks may be dark enough just by chance. But if I want that added on, it's probably my last step. It's like my last step.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but so
I've never used
this
ICC
was
profile.
good.
I don't know if
It was just one of those things that Ron, with the whole PixInsight for newbies, that feature that Ron in the Master PixInsight was doing. Like that was the last thing you do is you load, yet you add it, you add that ICC profile,
Yeah.
to your image before then you can turn it into
the
a
ICC
TIFF or a JPEG.
profile is really good for when you're printing images, and
Mm-hmm.
if you know what profile that printer is using for that printer. So if you know that they're not using sRGB, which a lot of people use, if they're using some sort of different color profile because of the printer or the ink that they're using, you could call them up and say, hey, listen, what printer are you using and what profile are you using? You could it'll change your color palette to fit the printer so it looks like when they print it, it looks like what you gave them.
What you gave them. Okay.
You know what I mean? So it'll apply that profile.
But like I said, this was a good show, a good informative show.
Yeah, and I think
I'm
we should
hoping
bring
it
this
helps out a
over
lot of
to the next show, and let's pick. And Tegan, if you're more than welcome. Again, you're always welcome. But let's pick 3 more processes and go over them next show.
Yeah,
Let's keep it going.
I'm totally down with that.
Nice. That'll work. Not
All
Blink.
right, guys.
Not Blink. We're not doing Blink.
No, no more.
I'm just messing with you. Okay. Oh wow!
6 months of using nothing but Blink.
You know what? It wouldn't have been such a bad thing, Eric, if you didn't spend almost $300 on a Blink program. You probably could have done it with Windows Media Player for free.
Probably so. But I knew once I would get over my fear of might get over that, feeling so intimidated by this software.
Yeah.
Because that's, what, and I probably wouldn't have been, but everybody keeps, when I first got started with it, you had all these, it's so intimidating, it's this and the other, and I think that put fear in my head. It's got me so nervous.
It can be. It could definitely be.
Doing.
I mean, I've gone through so much different software over the past 20 years, from starting off with Deep Sky Stacker and Registax, going to Images Plus, going
Yep.
to, and I did the plunge back in whatever. I bought Maxim DL4 Pro, and that was like $500. I bought that. And you want to talk intimidating? Holy crap! That was a nightmare. I mean, that was like a scary program. And then I moved over, and I ended up using Photoshop for the longest time. And then I dumped into I didn't even do the APP stop. I just went into PixInsight,
Right.
and haven't looked back. I mean, it's a good thing that they keep on coming up with updates because it keeps it relevant. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
it's too many good programs didn't keep up with the times and went to the side because they just didn't keep up. And PixInsight and Pleiades Astro has done a great job with keeping with the new technology, and listening to the people that use it and making the updates as necessary if they see it fit and if it's possible to do. So they do a great job with it, and that's why they're right now, honestly, one of the industry standards for processing and pre-processing.
Yep.
But
Agreed.
Anyway.
No. Besides
All
that,
right.
it was a good show. It was a
Yeah.
good show.
all right, so don't forget the Star Party. Come down and hang out with us at the end of August, last weekend. Cherry Springs, be there. At least me and Eric will be there, and 7 or 8 other people will be there, weather permitting. Be the first donor to the Southern Sky Challenge Round 2. Listen, none of the money goes to us. It all goes to imaging. It has nothing to do with the money. Just let's get the data and we can all play with it. It's all good. So that's with Ed and Karina. And don't forget, next week we'll have Pete Proul from Masters of PixInsight and IP for AP to come on to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Masters of PixInsight. So come on down. That's an AstroWorld exclusive to the 8 people that are watching. So thank you, everybody. No, seriously, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We're almost at 850 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you so much. Everybody's great. Just remember, as always, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you next time. Actually, I'll see you Friday on AstroWorld.
Yeah.
Have a
All
good
right,
night.
guys. See ya.
Take care.
Okay.